Joe Blasco here for MUA TV. And this is not New Faces in Makeup, because this man that I'm about to interview has been around for a long time. Don't go away. We're going to be right back with Tom Surprenant right after this. Welcome back. Joe Blasco here with Tom Surprenant. Now, right off the bat,
all right,
we got to get the pronunciation of the name right.
Oh, boy.
Come on.
Surprenant.
Surprenant. Surprenant. French, right?
Yes.
French. Very good. You've been in this business a long time. 25 years? 22?
About 20, professionally about 23.
Yeah. But you're one of, like, Hollywood's best-kept secrets. Are all these department heads, like, hiding you in the back of the trailer?
Sometimes.
Having you do all of these fantastic makeups, and then, like, at least, you know, somebody gave you some credit here, right?
Right. And Mike Westmore. Just a wonderful, wonderful dear man.
The best. Is this from Star Trek?
Yes. Deep Space Nine.
All right.
And the second, it was the second season of Deep Space Nine, and it was for an episode called Distant Voices. And then the next season, we did an episode called The Visitor with more age makeups.
Yes.
And I was nominated again, but
excellent.
Didn't get that one.
Excellent.
It went to our sister show, Voyager.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, I think, has gotten more nominations and Emmys for makeup than anybody in the business.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? He's so superb. And one hell of a nice guy.
Yes.
He's invited us over to his home to do an interview.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that's gonna be,
him and Marion.
That's going to be fun.
Such wonderful people.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. Let me, if I may, let me just go down now, I'm really serious. When I say that this man has been doing a lot of stuff, I mean a lot of stuff. I mean, these are shows that everybody, I mean, X-Men 3, Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously we know V. Neil.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? We want to give credit to the department heads. But you worked on these shows.
Right.
And you did, an outstanding job on some pretty heavy-duty makeups here. Big Fish, Frida. You worked on Frida?
Yes.
With John Jackson?
Yes.
Were you on location?
Yes, in Mexico City. And it was a very strange one of those phone calls that you just get going, would you like to come down and work on this? And I've always been a fan of Frida's, the real Frida. And it was one of those opportunities, just one in a million, and got to fly down to Mexico City and see, what is it, the largest city in the world.
Yeah.
And get very confused driving around.
Let me ask you a question. John, I believe, won an Academy Award.
Yes.
For that?
Yes.
And were you part of that team?
No. I was only on there for a couple days and stuff, but doing some age makeups, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Which was really interesting. I brought some pieces from home, and actually, because of the situation, I probably shouldn't say this, but I helped out with a little bit of hair as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Licensed cosmetologist since 1984.
Are you a Local 706 member?
Yes, I am.
Oh, not for long. Just kidding. Just kidding. I think you were far enough.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it was a union film.
You know, people. Oh, that's right. It probably wasn't. Was it?
So.
Well, all right. Well, we won't go there. But John's. What is he? The secretary of the Local 706.
Right.
Working a non-union film. John, shame on you. Well, anyway, here we go. Let's do this. The Scorpion King.
Yes.
Tell me about the. That's with The
Rock.
Yeah. And what did you do in that?
Wow. 2 units running simultaneous, and dear sweet Jeff Don, talented,
great?
Amazing.
He's got this new trailer.
The trailer,
yeah. The Pegasus. We contacted him. I had Travis Pates contact him because I wanted to see the Pegasus and show it on the air. Because there are actually, since I mentioned it, we've gotten emails about it, and there are people from production companies, around the country and in Europe.
It's the most
that are
amazing,
interested in
amazing.
And then there are other companies that also do trailers. A company in Tampa. Orlando, that heard me say that we were going to show the Pegasus, and they want to show their trailer. So we're stirring up all kinds of stuff here. Travis, shame on you.
But there was 2 units, and one was way out in Lancaster, past Lancaster, and it was the middle of summer, and that was Jeff's first unit, and I was over on second unit, Jim Cagle, and oh my gosh, names.
Right. No,
it's something that the older you get, the more things go off warranty.
Older, listen to him. The older he gets, he
but
can't be over.
We were at Universal Backlot, and it was tons of fun. It was like 800 BC, and so we did these, pretty much as accurate as we could. Asia Minor, Middle East, whatever you want to call it, makeups and stuff. A lot of kohl eyeliner and like stained lips, to imitate pomegranate. It's just I felt right at home. I enjoyed it very much.
He has such an excited look. You really do. I mean, I can see you're just completely, still totally passionate about what you do.
I really do love what I do. Every once in a while, I'll do that big thing where you question yourself, and it's like, do you still love what you do? And it's like,
oh yeah,
because it's art, and it's art that you get paid for while you're alive.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so great about doing shows like this, is because I'm able, to reconnect, so to speak, because I've been running makeup schools and cosmetic companies, and now creating this thing, and I've been, away from the art actually of being on the set, and reconnecting with other makeup artists has really been a joy, and and it's helped to rekindle a lot going on in my head too, which is really terrific. I see the look in your eyes is fantastic. You really love what you do. I'm very happy to see that.
I've been very fortunate.
Yeah. I think we're all real fortunate to be doing something that we really love to do, And so the Scorpion King, AI. What'd you do in AI?
Mechas. A bunch of mechas for a scene in the film called Flesh Fair. It's when all the broken down synthetic humans were being tortured to death and buckets of acid poured on them, and it was really kind of a depressing scene in the movie. And they were going to kill Jude Law and Haley Joel Osment off. And it was really cool for me because the band Ministry was there, and I got to hang out with Ministry, which that's kind of a cool thing. But it was a really, that movie in particular was something that was it really helped me learn a lot about how fortunate we all are. We had a lot of people who were disabled, who were born missing arms and legs, and we had some people who were in some really tragic, horrible industrial accidents who were missing arms and legs and pretty messed up. And they had their mechanical bits, so that kind of lended to the characters being damaged and whatnot. And once again, it was great working with Stan Winston, and God rest his soul. What a sweet, wonderfully talented, wonderful man. Growing up watching movies that Stan did, and then being lucky enough to
work with him,
be there, just gluing rubber.
Did you work at his lab for long?
No, I was just always on set doing stuff, but I remember the very first time it was a Michael Jackson music video we were doing called Ghosts, and I had to load up the trailers, and I had my list of things to load the trailers up with, and all prep days, and got to go to the lab for my very first time, and just the little entrance where the secretary is at the front desk, there was all these maquettes of dinosaurs, and I was just like, oh, these are so beautiful. I'd love to have one in my home. They're just like beautiful pieces of art, like museum quality. And then you walk into down a hall and then into this conference room, and there's all these Lestat and a T-Rex head coming through the wall, and aliens and the iced tea ripper from Tank Girl and Velociraptors, and they were just big silicone and rubber pieces, and it was weird. I was looking at all of them up close, and I got to the Raptor, and I actually stood back from it. It looked like it
so real.
Yeah, I mean that was just beautiful work, and so seriously, it's
he had he has they still have there an incredible team of artists in every area of the art, in sculpting and mold making and foaming, everything, painting, whatnot. They're all.
And they're always
exquisite.
On the cutting edge of new products, like the syntactic dough molds. It was amazing to see, because I heard so much about this, and to see the T-Rex mold. And actually, it was huge. And being able to just kind of nudge it, and it actually moved. It was that light, but they still could bake rubber in it. And, and
that's incredible, isn't it?
I heard stories that they dropped stuff deliberately to see how
durable it is.
That's stealth technology. It was actually stuff that was used in fabricating, like the stealth bomber or something. That's what the story.
See, that's what's so great about this art is that techniques change because of technology, because of products, because of constant improvement in everything that we do, which keeps us, having to study all the time, let me just go down here. I'm just going to, Donnie Darko, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Charlie's Angels, Supernova, Halloween, H2O, Goodbye Lover, Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, that must have been fun. The People versus Larry Flint, Star Trek, First Contact, The Crow 2, City of Angels, Set It Off, Showgirls, Desperado, Batman Forever, Chameleon, Star Trek 7, Surviving the Game, North, Coneheads. I mean, it just goes on and on. Oh, California was spelled with a K. One of my favorites.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I saw that. It was kind of revived down on Beverly Boulevard at that theater. I don't know what the theater is down there. The Beverly Theater, maybe it's called. And it's like first run, but films that were done a while ago. And that was with Brad Pitt, wasn't it? Yeah.
I got to design Brad's makeup with his tattoos.
I loved that.
I did all these tattoos and burns, like cigarette burns, where it looked like he was putting out cigarettes on himself. And you never see any of that. I didn't see that movie when it first came out. And I thought, let me go and check it out. So I went and I watched it, and I was very impressed with the makeup. And I thought, wow, this is kind of like an off-the-wall kind of low-budget picture, but it's really got some great makeup. I had no money for any of the stuff I did. It was like, okay, Brad gets hit in the face with a shovel, and David Duchovny gets slashed across his face, and we want to see it bleed on camera.
Right.
And
it was gory. It was bloody.
It was a violent movie because, the character, Brad's character was just. He was so unlikable. I mean, he was crazy and he wasn't nice.
Good. He was really good in that picture, wasn't he? He's always good.
But
the Coneheads.
One of my first union jobs, actually.
How long have you been a member of Local 706?
93, I believe.
Wow. Batman Returns. This just goes on and on. They must have you on the A list, right? If there's special makeup effects, call Tom.
Well, I'd like to think that.
But it's obvious.
Some of it's really interesting. Some of the jobs that I have gotten have really been from word of mouth. Like when I got Donnie Darko, and I have to mention that because that movie, out of every movie I think I've ever done, that movie was the movie that I would recommend anyone to see because it's such a deep movie with such
dark.
Yeah, it's dark, but there's also so much heart in it, and it's one of the actors and I have kept in contact, Jimmy Duvall, and he was asked at this thing we were doing a while ago, what did you think the movie was about? And he goes, love. And I was like, that's really it. And
it is.
And it's just, it really got me. It was like such a beautiful, deep story. And Lynn Barber, just an adorable, a wonderful, talented, and she worked her butt off on that movie. And I got called in at the last minute as kind of a favor for the people putting it on.
How lucky. That's great.
And they've got a toy of Jimmy Duvall as Frank the Bunny, and there's the bunny head, and you could either have him with the bunny head or him with the mask off, and it's my makeup.
I love it.
That to me was cool. Like, I did that, and they made a toy of it.
I love that. That's great.
That's one of those things. That's why I look excited. No. That's really embarrassing, but no, I don't have that toy at home. But I do have the eyepiece and the original eyebrow that I did. And,
you have to bring those in sometime for another show, and we'll show them.
All right.
And all right, now I feel like I've really been cheated for a lot of years not knowing you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Because we're always looking for really terrific makeup artists. At both of my schools, soon to be 3 schools. We're going to be opening a school in New York next year.
Where about New York?
We've got like 3 locations, but I'm really zeroing in on Midtown. We have one that was like over there by that Astoria Kaufman Studios. One location over there in Long Island City.
Oh, okay.
And then there was another down at the very southernmost part of Manhattan. I can't think of what that area is called. So it's my choice, and we just went up to New York to cover the Makeup Artist Summit that was put on by the Powder Group, which was a really terrific show, by the way. And you should look, you guys out there, next time. It's similar to a trade show, but a little more intimate, And we're going to be running spots of it. All the footage that we got in New York, you're going to be able to see right here on MUA TV. So look out for that. But it's something that's been long coming. The school in New York, long overdue, and we've got a list of people, like 200 people, that are on the list to attend the school in New York once we open that school. So we're really happy with that. So what I was getting to is that I understand you're working not for a school, but for like a traveling educational seminar company.
Yes,
what is the name of that company?
LastLooksMakeup.com.
LastLooksMakeup.com.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah.
And Last Looks Makeup Academy is actually.
Yeah, and Last Looks Makeup Academy, LastLooksMakeupAcademy.com. We obviously, Joe Blasco Makeup Schools.
Right.
We've been around for 38 years. We are now helping to, we feel, promote other schools as well that we feel are worthy schools to be promoted. And now that I have met you, I have no qualms whatsoever about promoting Last Looks.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's terrific to know that there's people like you out there at other schools.
I've written all the curriculum for the school as well.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
very good, very good. Maybe we could get you to come over and do some classes over here.
I would be honored. Yeah. And could I tell you?
Why did you come here a long time ago?
I actually was here many, many years ago, and this is a very embarrassing story, but I think that you'll find it amusing. It was probably late 80s, and it was right around that horrible writer's strike in 88, and I just got back from England, and I think Mamie just opened up his new store, and I was doing deliveries for them because I couldn't find any other work at the time because of the strike and everything else that was going on, and I did a delivery here many, many years ago, and I just got to peep in a little bit, and I was like, wow, this is such a cool place. And but that was kind of that was kind of and here I am now. It's kind of odd.
Right.
I never knew about how to go about asking. Once again, I'm one of those word of mouth people. It's kind of hard to let go, and I'm kind of shy.
Yeah, you actually are. He's really a sensitive kind of guy, and it's so amazing that someone as sensitive as you and shy, and I see it in your eyes, you are shy, does such outrageous, bloody, gory stuff. Isn't that? I was kind of like that. I was a little shy and kind of like backward. I grew up in a little farm town outside of Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And I did all this sort of thing. I ended up doing all that Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS stuff and David Cronenberg's early pictures. So I don't know. Maybe that's our one way of expressing ourselves. By going over the edge. Doing all that kind of thing. But so anyway, but we'll talk more about that. Okay. And Tom, now you've got Tom Surprenant Creations, and these are these are products that you make. It says here, Tom's Special Prosthetic Paint is in high demand from big-name makeup artists around the world. Some of the movies Tom's products have been featured include the Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3, or 1 and 3.
No, all three of them.
All three of them,
Yeah.
okay. There you go. The Scorpion King. We did makeup for the Scorpion King, too. We did body makeup. We made all the gallons of body makeup
really?
for the Scorpion King.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah. And Terminator 3 and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Tell me about, I was over at Namie's yesterday, and I saw your products on the shelf. In fact, I looked at them and I remarked, oh, he's coming over tomorrow. What are these products? Tell us about. Tell the whole world.
Wow.
Tell the whole world what these products are.
Well, I have Dick Smith to thank, like we all do,
Yes.
for the PAX formula. And I just remember years ago, and California, I think, was the show that the big turning point was. We were shooting in Death Valley in the summer, and nothing was sticking. And the regular PAX formula was, I mean, it's always good, but I wanted more pigment in it.
Right.
And I remember reading Vincent Kehoe's book, and he was talking about pigment to vehicle ratios. And I'm like,
Very good.
well, there's got to be a way to get more pigment into that vehicle of glue. And so I started formulating with cosmetic pigment and dye as opposed to just your standard acrylic paint formula. And then as the years progressed, I found mattifiers and all sorts of fun little things to put in it, and like some surfactants and whatnot, and it's airbrushable. And then lo and behold, the folks at Premier Products approached me on the Grinch and said, "Have you tried our Beta Bond?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." And they're like, "It's similar to the other acrylic emulsion adhesives out there.
Yeah.
It's waterproof, not just resistant," which I found to be true, especially for tons of blood work. It's brilliant stuff to seal pieces with, and they gave me some to play with, and I started formulating and came up with one using that as a base as opposed to the Dick Smith formula with Prosaid.
Yes.
And I like it a lot. I still have some clients who are like, "I like the old formula, don't change things," and I'm like, well, that's life. But the folks at Premier
That's
Products
progress.
have been so wonderful.
They're
And
coming by,
Really?
Scott and Eric. Yeah, they're going to be coming by to visit us, I believe.
yeah, they have been so good about understanding what I'm doing and helpful, just incredibly helpful guys, and they really stand by their products and
they're great guys.
They're really smart, and I like that. They're not just selling products, but they know those products.
Well, they know what they're doing. The father's really amazing, who was the founder of the company.
Right.
And very soft-spoken gentleman. Very, 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 very knowledgeable man.
I've only
and the
met him
kids are
briefly.
great. Yeah, Eric and Scott. They're really following in their father's footsteps.
Yeah.
Very, very, very much so, and doing a great job of it. The products are superb. We use a lot of the Skin Illustrator stuff.
Right.
And the adhesives, all the Telesis adhesives, and all of that, which is really
The removers are amazing.
Yeah.
And I love
Super Solve.
Yes, and the Beta Solve
yeah.
for removing the Beta Bond, and a lot of people ask me, what do you remove your product with? And I'm like, Beta Solve, because it was designed for the glue that's in it.
Exactly.
And I started making the stuff up and matching colors that are popular, colors that are in my makeup kit, because I've seen so many people just mix up beige one or just odd colors, whatever, and I'm like, well, I use a lot of this color from RCMA, and I use this William Tuttle color, and I use this Blasco color, and especially your concealer colors, because you can alter any color with those and stuff, and
the undertone.
And the strangest thing was I got a call somehow from some Australian makeup artists, and they started using it for Time Cop, I think was the series or something. And they were saying how muggy and humid and hot, and nothing was sticking, and the regular packs were rolling right off their actors, and I'm like, okay, well, here's some of mine, tell me what you think. And then the next thing I know, they're putting in orders. I'm shipping to Australia, and it was funny because I took it around to a few beauty supplies, and they're like, no one's going to buy that. Do you think Greg Canham's going to buy that, or Rick Baker? And I'm like, well, no, probably not. But what about the student or whatever?
Why not?
And
why not? Why would they say that?
It was the theory that people make their own stuff, and granted, we all do, but mine's not quite the same because it's using different products. And
there are all different levels of passion, and you seem to go into the chemistry end of it as well, which is terrific. And sometimes these guys, they don't have that going on in their lab, and they would rather find a product that will work for them, and I can't imagine why any of those big names wouldn't want to buy your product.
The funny thing is, years later I ended up selling to the beauty supplies, and then for some reason everyone kind of wanted it in theirs, and then as it is, it's hard because then it's like, oh, you're playing favorites because this person's selling it and you're not, whatever. But besides
it's only available in Namies though, isn't it?
Namies and Berman's, and this great store in Vancouver, Canada, called Holly North.
Holly North.
And we love
in the
Holly
north. Holly North in the north.
And Burnaby, actually, not Vancouver proper.
I see.
But anyway, they have been really, really wonderful people.
Yes. So you're an entrepreneur also, aside from being a makeup
somewhat,
artist.
yes.
Yeah, that's very good. Passion. There's the passion I'm talking about.
What's really interesting is once this got in the stores, I started getting calls from different people.
Right.
The very first time I physically got to meet Rick Baker was me dropping by his shop in Glendale, his latest shop, his big grandiose shop, and to buy product from me. And I was like, wow. Well,
there you
Rick Baker
are.
just bought product, and then I got a call to go up to Greg's place, and what is that, Castaic or?
Greg's up in, I think, Canyon Country. Up in that area, Valencia.
Yeah, and I this was several years ago, and it's like pre-bicentennial, man, and he wanted some product, and he wanted like some specific Tuttle colors, which was really interesting. So
that was for on the silicone, right? For use on the silicone.
This, like I said, this was pre-actually that, so I don't know. I don't remember what show he was doing.
Yeah.
And
God, he's done so many.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of other people, let alone my own.
Right.
History. I don't know. I run into people and they're like, "We worked together for 6 months," and I'm like. So
that's great.
But
so what's next for you?
Oh gosh,
you have new products coming out. Anything new?
Well, there's some stuff I've been working on, and the products that you will find at Namies are the paints.
Yes.
And one of them just got renamed because a lot of straight makeup artists who like kind of straight makeup names couldn't kind of wrap their hands around this stuff that I have called Clear Base Shine. And for like lab guys, of course we're going to grab that and go, hey, I know what to do with that.
Right.
But for the straight makeup artist, it's like, well, all right. So I came up with a friend of mine.
Straight makeup artist, you're referring to the fact that they do straight makeup.
Just primarily like beauty and and out of the kit character.
No special makeup effect.
Right. And this one friend of mine actually was working on the new Terminator movie, Terminator 4, and I said, well, a lot of different folks I know have been using this for sweat.
Who was that?
Kim Green. Kimberly Green.
Yes.
And she's like, for sweat? And I'm like, yeah, it stays on. You never have to re-wet it.
Right.
And it doesn't sweat off because it's the base with a polymer, a shine polymer in it.
Yes.
That my
so it looks
product,
like sweat.
Yeah, and
it's clear.
It's clear, and it goes on kind of milky, and it dries clear. And you can smear it on with a sponge, or you could stipple it on with like an orange sponge or something.
I used to have a product that did exactly the same thing, and I called it Matte Sealer.
Really?
And it was matte medium that you could get in an art supply store.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was similar to that. When you said milky, it reminded me of that. We don't make it anymore. But it was a blend of things. But basically, it was a blend between matte medium and the gloss medium acrylics.
All right.
And we used to use the matte. We used the matte as actually a sealer on prosthetic appliances.
Oh, okay.
And would put a skin over the appliance with it, and it would dry. It would seal in the appliance. It would help also to build up, and get rid of the edge. You could use it around the edges.
Okay.
And it would be very, very matte. and where we wanted the shine, we'd take the gloss medium with a coarse beard stipple sponge and just stipple the shine, right where we wanted it.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It worked better than KY because it really stayed.
And KY goes dull after a while and stuff like that. And it just, from years and years of dealing with sweat from basketball players and Buffy the movie, who we had big water bottles and just finally just kept spraying them down.
Right.
And glycerin getting in people's eyes and whatnot.
Yes.
And it's weird because I originally made this product to work as a medium, where you could do layers, progressive transparent layers on rubber.
Is it matte or no? This is shiny.
It's shiny.
Is the shiny one.
And what's interesting is I did this because of the whole silicone prosthetic craze, and you can't get that kind of translucency, and bet me, I paint. Let me try this.
He's feisty.
Well,
you're feisty.
I love my foam latex prosthetics. Everyone's like, oh, silicone. I'm like,
what about gelatin? You've got Greg is doing silicone,
right,
and Matthew's doing gelatin, and Rick is doing foam rubber, or anything and everything.
I like a good combination, and this comes from my dear mentor, who I love dearly, and I've learned so much at the feet of the great Kevin Haney.
Oh,
so
Kevin is wonderful. Kevin was on the show. In fact, I think we still have yet to run part 2 of the Kevin Haney interview, and he is such a great guy and passionate. But as you are and as I was, very shy.
He is very shy, but working some
dynamic.
Late hours with him, his personality comes out, and he's such a big kid with a heart of gold and a brain that it's amazing it can even fit in his skull. He is so smart.
Yeah,
I love that because we could talk on some out there levels,
chemistry level,
and we'd go back and forth. It wouldn't be little civil conversations about this and this and this. It would be like no, and then I would get out the Merck Index, and he's like, well, I don't believe what you're. I'm like, well, I don't. So let's say we both agree to disagree on this, and yes. But he one of the things I learned from him was kind of mixing things up, and like for age makeups, I think that a silicone neck, the dewlap and everything, because that moves so much and then you've got the weight,
flesh.
And the whole point of it is you want it to, and I like foam latex here, a gelatin nose, gelatin ears, and then when you see the finished makeup, you're like, what? Well, that looks like what you can't really figure it out.
That's
it's like stippling.
You're the first makeup artist that has told me this.
Really?
Mixing the different appliances. Every one of them, it's either all gelatin or it's all foam or it's all silicone.
Wow.
And I think that what you're saying is really right on the money because there's, depending on the structure, and the gravity and whatnot, why not mix them?
Right. And
I mean, it's triple the work because you're making all different kinds of molds.
But the end result.
This has to be a latex area. This is your silicone area. This is your gelatin area.
Actually, Richie Alonso turned me on to. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I will anyway. He turned me on to some amazing tin-cured silicone, and I ended up getting some for this medical show I was on many years ago. And it's a little tricky at first because you can over-plasticize it like anything else. But it's a tin cured that has the same kind of attitude as a platinum cured. And it's not touchy and weird about sulfur in the air or sulfur on your sculpting tools and sulfur in your clays. I had a very small lab that was built for me for the show I was on, and it was hard. The ventilation in there was just, it was so bad, and it took the last season of the show to finally get decent ventilation. It's amazing I'm not in an iron lung right now.
Yeah, that's really, that's one of the first considerations that a production company should make and have, and that is really, really adequate ventilation, especially if you're doing airbrushing.
Yes.
And working with all these really volatile chemicals with silicone and all.
I was doing rubber cement paint, and because it was a medical show, there needed to be some really squishy, gooey,
honestly,
nasty stuff.
I'm afraid that somewhere down the line, if they really don't start straightening out and understanding the nature of the materials that they're working with, especially with airbrushing, that there are going to be some really horrendous lawsuits down the line.
Well, one of the things that I've witnessed are people who use too high of PSI with their compressors. It's airbrush makeup. It's not a dummy in a paint booth.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy, I shouldn't probably say this either, but I will. That last season on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the demon trailer would get cloudy. I was almost intoxicated from the alcohol fumes, and other people having the PSI above 35 or at 35, and some people using the airbrush as their primary delivery system for paint, and there would be 5-6 of us in a trailer all airbrushing, and no ventilation, and then the doors closed, and I'm like, you've got to, so you might be a little chilly, or your actor might be a little chilly. You've got to work this out, because this is not going to be inhaling.
You can't breathe that, And I always say, if you're working with an airbrush, honestly, it looks strange, but you take a little piece of cotton and you put it up into your talent's nose. They can breathe through the cotton. It filters out all the fumes if there or the particulates in the air. And you do the same to yourself, or you wear that and a mask, or you put cotton over and you put the mask over it, so that you're not breathing in all of the particulates.
Right.
And if you really think about it, the powders that make up part of the pigment formula that's being sprayed, that's what you're seeing in the air. And there's talc. And talc, they're like little miniature microscopic rocks, that do not dissolve. They embed themselves in your lungs, and over time can cause some real damage. So we, as makeup artists, we've really, we say, oh, it's not dangerous, oh, this or that. But, Dick Smith and I have discussed this over at dinner the one time at one of the trade shows where I invited him to dinner. And we talked about it, and he says, my opinion of the airbrushing situation makes me very unpopular. And I said, but your opinion of the whole situation is right on the money, Dick. It's right on the money. People have got to wise up to being more aware of the safety situation here, because it's going to turn around and bite us on the butt down the road. I'll tell you what. You're doing a makeup for us, right?
Yes.
What are you going to be doing for us? This is really, by the way, special, and it's long overdue. You're being here at the MUATV. Actually, we're on the second floor of the Makeup Artist Training Center here, Joe Blasco Makeup Artist Training Center, which this used to be part of the school. And now we enlarged the school downstairs, and we just knocked all the walls out up here, and we have this huge stage up here. It's fantastic. What do you think of the little studio?
I think it's great. I had no idea it was here, actually.
We've got about 7 or 8 different sets.
Wow.
This is the one set, and then we have another set over there, another set over there, another set over there, another set over there. But you're going to be on the set where we do the makeup application demos. All right. And you're going to do a fat makeup. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, tell us what materials you're working with.
Foam latex.
Okay.
And it's just a one-piece wraparound, and it's pretty straightforward. It was a really interesting job. I was in Austin, Texas. I get a phone call from one of my dearest friends, Michelle Bueller, who's been around forever.
Oh, yeah.
But Michelle actually did California.
She did.
And so that's we work together quite often. We did a movie a couple of years ago called Vacancy, and she was doing Luke Wilson's makeup. And, but yeah, she's old friend, and I got a call from her, and she was doing It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I'd never really heard of that show. It was on its 2nd or 3rd season at this point. I'm like, okay. Anyway, I was off in La La Land doing other things and not watching television, but she's like, give me a quote on a fat makeup. And
Did you love it?
And it was like, well, I told her, she's like, oh no, they're not going to go for that. Television and.
What do you charge for a fat makeup?
Ooh, I don't.
Depends
think
on how fat, right?
Exactly. I didn't have to do the suit. It was just the face and a wig. I had a week to do it, and I gave them the biggest deal. And I'm not even going to mention how low I did it for, because it was a favor to Michelle, and it was a favor to Michelle, but it was ridiculously low.
Yeah.
And
don't ever underprice yourself.
I know it, and it was one of those things where I got on the show and ran into an actor I worked with many years ago on Big Fish, Danny DeVito, one of the coolest people you'll
Isn't he great?
ever want to work with, and
so talented.
Oh, and versattle. I mean,
do anything.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And it was great meeting up
Talk
with him
about
again.
passion.
Oh yes.
Holy moly.
And he involved me in a project called Splatter Cuts that he's been doing for the last couple of years, a little like guilty pleasure of these short little horror film type
When is
psychological
this
thrillers. They're actually internet. They're like, it's
is?
like I think it's splattercuts.com or something.
Check that out.
And he
Splatter Cuts.
Cuts, yes.
SPLATTERCUTS, meaning film cuts.
Yes.
Cuts of film.
So
That's
yeah.
terrific. We got to check that out.
Okay, so
and Danny DeVito is doing this.
Yes, and
you're doing a lot of the special makeup effects.
Yes, for
Wow.
I think this is the
That's
second
great.
grouping of them or whatever. And I got to design like some odd characters. This one guy was stabbed in the face like 13 times or something.
Yeah.
Like weird, just kind of grotesque stuff.
Right.
This aborted fetus that got this woman finds in a dumpster in an alley, and it raised him, and he's like grown up to be this really malformed creature, and it was just I got to design this creature.
Oh, I just this shy guy. Okay, and moving right along.
Okay.
Why don't we go over to the? Well, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to break just for 1 second, and during that time, Tom and I are going to go over to the makeup application area, and you're going to start on your project, right?
Okay.
Your fat makeup.
It's actually, I think we're probably going to use one of the pieces from It's Always Sunny.
It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Terrific.
Anyway,
and It's Always Sunny right here at MUA TV. You keep watching. We'll be right back.
Okay. Thank you.